Hi guys, welcome to our channel. In the last video, we discussed about the first principle of insurance, which was principle of utmost good faith. If you haven't watched it yet, go to the previous video and watch it. Today, we are going to cover about insurable interest, which is the second principle of insurance. But before that, we have a question from one of our viewers. I'll read out the question and my father will tell the answer. So, the question we received from our viewers was, Sir, very well explained the first principle of insurance with good examples. What I understood is that they have to reveal all the facts and information about the product to be insured to the insurance company. In other sense, it makes us aware of the product that we are going to insure. But not all details can be revealed about the product in terms of maintaining secrecy. Then at that time, what can be done?
It's a very pertinent question. Maybe I should have touched upon this aspect when I presented the first principle, explained about the first principle of insurance. It's a fact that no manufacturer can reveal their key secrets of the manufacturing activity or the product which they manufacture. And the insurers also, they don't expect you to reveal all such key information. Primarily what the insurers are interested is to evaluate the level of hazard involved. Either it can be fire hazard or probability for an explosion to happen, or in the event of fermentation, that self-ignition, all this, whether the product is susceptible to auto-ignition like spontaneous combustion. These are all the specific issues which they are interested to know about. So you have to reveal certain information which has got relevance to the fire hazard or the explosion hazard or the risk hazard involved, not about your business secret. Hope it's clear for you. Right, so let's move on to today's first subject, that is principle of insurable interest. While insurance is solicited, and when you propose a property to be insured, you should have a bondage or the legal bondage with the property. Not that anything and everything can be offered for insurance. For example, the state-owned buses, you cannot declare a registration number of a public transport and then ask for a policy. That is not, that means you don't have any kind of legal bondage. You don't have any ownership of the property which you are offering for insurance. So this is a key point. That means you should have a bondage, legal bondage with the property which you propose for insurance. Anyway, to save time, I'll just browse through the slides which are already prepared. The insurable interest can be defined as the legal right to insure arising out of a financial relationship recognized under the law between the insured and the subject matter of insurance. In other words, insurable interest simply means right to insure. So, do you have an ownership, a kind of financial bondage or legal bondage with the property which you are proposing for insurance? That is very vital. So, you should have a legal right to insure, offer your that property for insurance. Then, okay, you have insurable interest. For example, insurable interest can come out of relationship. Parents, your parents, you have a right to take insurance on your parents. You have a right to take insurance on your family, your wife, your children. So there is a sentimental or legal right arising out of relationship. Similarly, a car which is owned by you, you have a legal right because you are the owner of the car. If something goes wrong, you have to spend money from your pocket to get it repaired. So similarly, money insurance, like okay, you have a activity of daily carrying the cash from your business house to the bank or taking it back. It's a regular routine. So you have a right to insure the risk of against loss of cash, the money insurance. There are different types of policies are there. So on financial matters, you have a right to insure, where you have a legal bondage with the financial activity. Similarly, your property, your own house or your plant where you have invested, you have a right. It's your proprietary concern, or maybe you are the promoter of a company, you have a right to insure. So when you say right to insure, if it is an industry, the industry has got the name of the company has got the right to insure, not each person. That each promoter, each shareholder cannot go and insure the plant or the property belonging to the company. The company has got a right to insure. There must be some property right, interest, liability or potential liability capable of being insured. It is the property right, etc., which must be the subject matter of insurance. What you name in the policy should be, that is called the subject matter of insurance. That is on which you have a legal bondage, legal right, where you have a right to insure that. You have a legal insurable interest. The insured must stand in a relationship with the subject matter of insurance whereby he benefits from its safety, well-being or freedom from liability and would be prejudiced by its loss, damage or existence of liability. It's where the wording is very, very clear. If it is safe, well safeguarded, you stand to get benefited. If something goes wrong, there is a damage, the item is lost, you stand to lose. That means you are going to lose, you are going to be the loser. You have a legal bonding with the property subject matter where you have a right to insure. The relationship between the insured and the subject matter of insurance must be recognized by law. When I said you can insure against the life of your family, your wife, your children, everything, I'll just give a typical example that in case by remote property, if a person is into some illicit relationship or something like that where he has siblings which he cannot legally declare, you have no right to take an insurance on such siblings also, where the relationship is not legally recognized by law. Under property insurance, we generally talk about buildings, stocks, or such movable property, immobile as well as immovable property, except land. Land is not insurable. It is not because nobody owns a land. What we all own is the surface right on the land. So the land is not allowed to be insured. Whereas the property which you construct on the land, that is insurable. Similarly, the vehicle where own damage or damage to third party is not insurable. Like the way the transport vehicle, if you are running a transport company, okay, you have insurable right on every vehicle which is owned by you as a person or the vehicles owned by the company. Company has got a right. Certain relationship based on sentiment, example husband, wife, parent and child, members of a family are in business together. In partnership business, each partner's skill and his safety, everything matters. Collectively, the business venture becomes successful. So, one partner can insure the life and health of another partner. That right is there, because if something happens to the other partner, you also stand to lose. That means you have a legal right to take care of the safety and security by way of financial insurance protection of your partners. Then coming to property, part of joint ventures, mortgages and mortgagers, executors, trustees, bailees, agents. Similarly, a tenant can insure the property or the house or apartment which he has occupied as a tenant, though the property belongs to the landlord. maybe the house or even the contents like furniture features of the house, whatever is belonging to the owner, the occupant being a tenant, he has got an insurable interest because he is responsible for the safety and security of all those items. Assume that the person goes out for shopping, and by the time he comes back home, the entire house is gutted. Maybe some short circuit somewhere, the whole interior, the entire building is very badly damaged. Who is responsible for repairing it, rectifying it? It is the tenant, the occupant, and the landlord will definitely hold him responsible because of some negligence on his part if the property is damaged. So he is responsible for rectifying all these things. That means the tenant, as an occupant, he has got an insurable interest. He has got a right to insure the property, including the contents, whatever is belonging to the owner. May not be belonging to the tenant, but belonging to the owner, he has got a right to insure it. Generally, for any business venture, the normal pattern is people go for taking finance from either banks and various financial institutions. So the financial institutions which are lending money to the industry, they have an insurable interest because their money is invested in your company. Similarly, if you are a custodian of somebody else's property, as a custodian, you are duty bound to safeguard the property. If something goes wrong for the property, you stand to lose. You have to rectify it. That means you have a legal right to insure the property for which you are a custodian. Similarly, storage warehouses. There are public owned or run by government as well as private warehouses where property belonging to various parties will be deposited or stored. As a custodian of the property, the stocks belong to various people, you have a right to insure such stocks, etc. Coming to liability insurance, loss of life or permanent disability of general public arising out of inhaling poisonous gas leaked in consequence to a fire or explosion in a chemical plant. This is a very prominent thing, or generally what we come across in chemical industries where there is a gas leak or something like that. Public gets affected and due to loss of life or permanent inability or their health gets permanently damaged, irreparable damages. All these things are all coming under legal liability. So there will be legal liability claimed on the factory from where the poisonous gas has leaked out and such damages have happened. You have the company has got a right to insure against public liability. This is called liability insurance. So far we spoke about the insurable interest of the property owner who proposes the property to be insured. Now the insurance company also has got an issue of insuring the risk which they have undertaken. They place their insurance with reinsurers. That's called reinsurance. So who can offer the risk to a reinsurer? It is the insurance company who has got insurable interest. So insurance company also should have insurable interest on the risk which they propose for insuring with reinsurers. So this is a general outline about principle of insurable interest. Bye for now.
Hi guys, I'm back. So today's video was very informative for me. It was about insurable interest. In the next video, we're going to cover another principle of insurance. So stay tuned. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you would like to watch more of such videos, hit the subscribe button. Bye bye. See you next week.